no accountability. Love it. As your next act is a hilarious comedian around the city. She's performed in New York a bunch. She's back here in Montreal. She's also a musician, a songwriter, a rapper. She's fantastic. I'm going to bring on Sarah Swinwood right now. Go as crazy as you can by yourself. By yourself. Let's see what she's done. What has she done?
Hey, what up, bud?
How you doing?
Good. So good to see you.
You too.
This is great. It's good to all be together. It's this new surreal, yet very real world we're now in. It's pretty bonkers. Hey, Alicia. I see Alicia out there.
Then like the smellogram because I'm wearing some very expensive cologne and I just wanted all my guests to experience it.
Yep, I still put, the really shiny hair stuff on. I do the vanilla and the perfume. Like, I still swag it up because, it's for others, but it's for myself as well.
Really for you, yeah. I feel like $1 million.
Gotta do it. Gotta do it. So, we're here to tell stories, and I am really excited about this, to be honest. It was really challenging for me to choose a story because I have so many wacky stories.
I know.
I'm sure you can imagine. I'm in a creative writing program at school, and one of my profs calls me the Forrest Gump of the class. She's just like, what? That can't be true. Yeah. I've been around the block, okay? I'm actually an old Greek man. Look like a young lady, but I was in the mafia. I've lived many lives. I've lived... Elspeth. The secret is the Winnie the Pooh meditation that I do every day. Meditation.
It's just eat a jug of honey and kick a small rabbit. Is that what Winnie the Pooh is?
Yeah, I just wear a halter top with nothing else, and spoon the honey, and we're good. We're good.
Let the gut hang.
Yeah. Did you know that Winnie the Pooh, incidentally, is illegal in Poland? Because
because he doesn't wear pants, right?
They deem him to be a sinful hermaphrodite.
Yeah, he's Winnie the Perv.
So, it's like no Winnie the Pooh memorabilia is allowed in any school.
Wow.
I was Googling one day, some of the weirdest laws. So that's
I went dressed as Winnie the Pooh once to a Halloween party, and they kicked me right out. They didn't like that I just had the small shirt and no pants.
I get it. I kind of do get it.
I brought honey and everything to drip on my nipples. They didn't even...
So, fun fact, right? These are some fun facts. So, I'll drop some more knowledge about myself and my background. I have a really big family. I have 2 brothers and 2 sisters. Okay. And both parents are remarried, so I have 2 biological parents, but then also stepmom and stepdad. And it's a big, beautiful, expanded family. It's great. And but there's also a big age gap. My older brother, Sean, is 7 years older. Katie's 7 years younger, and then Allura is in her early 20s, and then Sam he just turned 18. So it's a big span across the ages.
None of you are on the same apps.
Well, actually, they're all watching right now. They've tuned in.
Nice.
Yeah. So I was like, maybe let's veer away from the Winnie the Pooh nipples right now, because I'm pretty sure my parents
Some of them
are watching.
like, how do you go live on MySpace? I don't understand.
Right? So my brother's 7 years older, and he was a deadhead. He was followed the Grateful Dead. Yo, what up, Yamis? And Cuz Brand in the house. Good to see some people from all over the place. We got some Scotians. We got some New Yorkers. So happy to see some friends. So Sean, my brother, followed the Grateful Dead.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot from him. Like, if you watch the documentary that's now, I think, on Prime, it's called What a Long Strange Trip. And it's all about the history of the Grateful Dead and their experimenting with LSD and how they really just wanted it to be one big happy family, and they would let people tape their shows, but no 2 shows were the same. They would never decide what they were going to play beforehand.
Right.
And they created something called the Wall of Sound, which was stacked speakers that went all the way around, and this had never before been created. The setup would have to begin in the morning, and then they would set up this wall of speakers. And
Sonic terrorism, yeah.
It's wild, but I highly recommend this doc because everything that I learned from my brother is true. That, it became this tradition where deadheads would follow the band from city to city, and if they couldn't get a ticket, they would just, hold up a sign that said, "Need a miracle." And the miracle was the ticket. And my brother was one of these people. But then the Dead had to start going on the news and being like, stop it, because you're causing disruption. Like, because they couldn't get into the show.
Yeah.
They just party in the parking lot. And we're talking like 20,000 people. Like, not like 3,000 to 5,000 people. Like,
Big
packed.
tailgate.
Yeah, huge. Hippies, though, setting, doing acid, and like just summer of love in every place that they go.
Just Woodstock, wherever they landed.
Yeah, and so when I think it was around 15 or 16, we were privileged enough to go to a Dead show in Albany with my brother and his girlfriend at the time, my dad and my stepmom, and my friend and I. And my dad and my stepmom were in one car, and my brother and his girlfriend and I, we were in another car that, like, we're at a gas station driving to Albany, and the key for the ignition, we only had one key, and it's for the ignition and the gas tank.
Okay.
We're getting it, and it snaps in the gas tank. And we're like, shit, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
So someone's like, well, there's a restaurant up the way, and go have a bite to eat. We go in. There's only one person in there. We're talking about our story, and the guy turns to us and says, oh, I'm a locksmith. Like, show me what the problem. We're like, what are the chances? The one guy in the place is a freaking locksmith.
Winnie the Pooh ass pervert locksmith. Like,
okay.
Are you a locksmith really? Or are you a cocksmith?
So he came back and he taped the key, and he said the only caveat is you got to keep the key in the ignition the whole time. You can't take it out.
So he hotwired your car, basically.
Basically, and so like taped it and put it in. But if you take it out, you could lose the other half. So keep it in there. So we went on to Albany, kept the key in the ignition the entire weekend, did the parking lot tailgate, the whole thing. My brother and his girlfriend had tickets. My friend and I did not. We got a couple tickets. The showtime, we're all about to go in. Turns out our tickets are counterfeit. So my brother's like, shit. Like, she hasn't been to a show. Here, take our tickets. So we go in. Yeah, it's the remix to Ignition, but like hippie style, man. And so my stepmom, who's super organized, she's a Virgo like me, crosses those T's and dots those I's. And she's like, this is not going to happen again. Next show, I'm ordering tickets in advance. So the next show, she rented a van, ordered 10 tickets. And so I got to invite some friends. My dad loaded up the cooler with beer and in the van we get and drive to Buffalo, New York.
He provided the miracle.
Yeah, for all of us. And this show, it was summertime, amphitheater, like open, sun going down. Sting is opening up Before the Dead. And he's playing Fields of Gold as everybody's like entering. I had told my dad that I smoked weed. Like, I think at that point it was okay if it was natural, but I didn't tell him that I was doing acid, which I was also doing acid. Everyone was doing acid. I just never, hi Dad, if you're watching.
Earmuffs.
Now you know. Well, that was so long ago now. And so on the periphery, there's these people called spinners that they just spin the entire time. So you got to go through all these spinners. And then where we're seated, we're surrounded by these Hell's Angels. And we're like, oh, but this is a thing that, like...
How do you know that they're Hell's Angels? Like, how does a Hell's Angel...
The emblems.
Okay, they just have the...
They fully have the, like... The chapter... like, the chapter of the... I wish I had a bit more background.
I like how they call them chapters, but, like, many of them don't read, So it's like it's like,
right, they
like,
definitely...
we have a chapter of the gang. It's like, yeah, and how long is that chapter? How long is that chapter?
And to be, like, on acid and a hippie and be like, oh, it's totally comfortable with these massive biker dudes.
Yeah.
So we see them rolling a joint, and we figure it's like a hash joint because it's like the brown and some tobacco, and we're like, oh, yeah, okay. And they pass it to us. You don't say no when a Hell's Angels passes you a joint. Like, you're like, good, yeah. So we're smoking it, and like we're passing it amongst ourselves, and then it keeps getting passed back to us. But then at one point, one of us is like, what is this? It's like, this isn't hash. I'm pretty sure it's opium. But I've Googled opium. Apparently you need to smoke a copious amount for it to do anything.
So what did it do?
I mean, the whole Dead experience is so much is happening that Yeah, it was fine. I mean, we weren't really drinking a lot of alcohol. So I think alcohol is really the worst. If you mix alcohol in with all those other things, you lose.
It's the sugar in the alcohol that'll screw you up for sure. Yeah.
Sugar is infinitely more dangerous than any drug. Absolutely. Like I would say white sugar, infinitely more dangerous than any drug.
Yeah. So I shouldn't be snorting the sugar then. I should just stick to the cocaine. Like
no, I mean, Gab was onto the right thing with like taking people's coffees and making sure like, you know, that didn't, it's connected. They're connected somehow.
It's saving their lives. That's it.
I think
so.
so.
You're the scientific proof. You're the professional coming on and being like, yes, it's true. When he stole their coffee, he was actually protecting them from heart failure.
Well, you're a musician, Ben. Have you been to any wild concerts, or do you have any kind of like concert experiences that?
I mean,
can even pale in comparison?
I got a lot of stories from touring across Canada with my band, and those are pretty. But I'll probably tell them next confessional.
Yeah. Hold back.
But I was at a concert once. My friend got me into the last Warped Tour. He was doing videography for like Simple Plan and bands like that, and he got us in. So we were all like backstage for all these bands that like we loved, and we're like drinking and doing shots with them after. It was pretty cool. Snorting sugar, you know.
Yeah. Just stay away from the sugar. But I think like part of what I was really lucky about was I got to see this show. Jerry Garcia was still alive.
Yeah.
And I really highly recommend that doc. What a long, strange trip, because I don't think we'll ever have anything like that ever again. I mean, part of like what was weird at the end was like became so popular that it just became overrun with like anything that becomes too popular. Like JFL even. We're kind of lucky, guys, that we're getting a break this year. It was getting a little bit too, that Doubletree last year was a little bit, I don't know if you were there at all, but borderline like a dead show tailgate.
I went once or twice, yeah. It's a bit anything goes, anyone shows up, yeah.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm going to let you get to your next comic, unless you have any questions for me about the show.
So did you connect with any of these Hells Angels? Any numbers exchange? When you're in town, bring your brown powder, and we'll
I felt safe that they didn't like do anything. I think that the biggest takeaway was that like all walks of life were there, and they were there for the one common thing. And so like these people kind of brought everyone together, and it's like you can be safe around all different types of people. And it is actually surreal now that we're in a pandemic and people are freaking out even about going to a park. Imagine, like...
even the Hells Angels could be philosophical enough to appreciate the Grateful Dead, so that's cool.
Well, someone had said to Jerry, enough with the Hells Angels backstage. And Jerry was like, no, I don't rule that way. Everyone is welcome. Right. But then one of them said, look, it's okay to let the devil in at the show, but maybe don't give them a backstage pass.
Also, you want to deny the Hells Angels anything? Are you going to be like, it's like, yeah, it's illegal